This morning, I sat down in front of my TBR and I started counting, because for the month of April, I've decided to let a random number generator decide which books I read. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Hi, hello, and welcome back to yet another TBR picking randomizer video. You know what we're going to do. We are blindly picking the TBR for the next month. Now, as we know, my track records with TBR is like the worst because I am one of the biggest mood readers on this planet. However, this month I'm gonna do it. In case you're new here, I say that every month and every month I fail. I'm gonna try my best. Okay, that's all I can promise you. Now, we have 305 books to choose from behind me. If you didn't know, this is my TBR shelf. And without further ado, let's spin for the first book of today. 202! To make life easier for myself, I numbered my bookshelf on like a picture so that I can find 202 quicker. Ta-da! Last Night at the Telegraph Club. Now, I have already started this book. I just completely forgot that it existed, and I am actually glad to read it. I'm very glad to read all the books that are behind me, alright? This is the Illumicrate exclusive edition of it. It's kind of pretty. It has the sprayed edges. I think it also has like an alternate cover. I'm not entirely sure. This is a queer historical romance in 1940s America, Chinatown situation, where it's not really safe to be openly queer, and this is like a, not really a cutesy bubbly romance, but a we're having struggles romance. I'm really excited to read this. Obviously, I don't know exactly what it's about yet because I haven't read the book yet, but I'm excited to read it, and I've heard very good things about it, so I'm guessing that's a good thing. So this is book number 1. Let's go again and pick the second book of today. The numbers are so small that you can't see anything. 293. That's a special edition. That's all I can tell you about it. I have no idea. This one, as promised, came from the Tower. It is The End Crowns All, which, if I'm remembering correctly, is a love story between Helen and Cassandra. I am very excited for this, by the way, because I love Greek mythology. Obviously, who doesn't? Who in their right mind does not love Greek mythology? It's super cool. And I really love reading books about it, in case you could not tell by now. I do absolutely love it. So this is what I'm also going to try and read this next month, and I am honestly excited for it. By the way, of course, this is also set during the Trojan War, which I do love. Why am I like this, okay? But I'm really excited for this one. And I did love Girl Goddess Queen, which is also by this author. So things can only go right from here. And again, with the next book. This can go all sorts of ways. Number 91, a small number. For this one, it is Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I totally forgot that I owned this book and hadn't read the book, so this is great. This video is great for that. It is also the Illumicrate edition. We are just reading special editions, apparently. I have no idea what happens in Gallant. Absolutely zero clue. The only book by V.E. Schwab that I read was The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue. That one I didn't like as much, but I did still enjoy it, so it wasn't my favorite, but it was still a fun book. Anyway, this one, let me check that out real quick. I read this and I just got goosebumps. Okay, apparently this is about Olivia, who lost her mom and dad and can't talk, I think. It says she lost her mom, dad, and her voice. So she lives at this school for girls, and she gets a letter from her uncle saying, come on, live with me. However, when she gets there, she realizes this uncle is already dead. The letter is 5 years late. So she lives at this mansion with her cousin and one servant. And there are some crazy rules, like she can't go out after dark, and things are just weird. And I think this is kind of like mystery, fantasy, dark-ish. No clue. If you know what this book is about, if you liked it, please tell me. The more good things you tell me about any of these books, the more likely I am to actually read them. I'm excited to read this, honestly. It's been on my shelf for far too long, and it's probably a very good book. Most of these are. Alrighty, let's go with the next one. For some reason, I am very excited about this, okay? 213. I kind of feel like I'm working the lottery right now, right? That's what I'm doing. Technically, 213 was a different book. However, I'm picking the first book in the series for this, and that is Written in the Stars by Alexandria Belfour. This one is probably really cute. Also, a special edition because for some reason, this random number generator just loved my special editions. I have not had a single regular edition so far. If the next one is also a special edition, I don't know what to do anymore. This is a fake dating lesbian queer romance on Christmas. I am beyond excited for this, by the way. I've seen the cover and I was like, I need this in my life. So I got it. And I am very happy that I have this book. I am absolutely pumped that this came up and I can't wait to read it. It's about an astrologer who agrees to fake date a very grumpy actuary on like Christmas, New Year's. And I'm excited for it, okay? I love astrology. I love lesbian romances. I love love. So, this sounds great. Next one! This is amazing. I like this method. It's cool. Please tell me if you also like this method. 295. We're in the 290s right now, okay? The universe wants me to read my special editions. Are you kidding me? Okay, this is just the Waterstones exclusive. I have not seen normal white pages a single time in this video. Anyway, Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. I am so excited to read this. Honestly, I loved other books by her so much. Like either Kingdom of the Wicked or Stalking Jack the Ripper, they don't get enough hype on the internet for how good they actually are. And this seems amazing. I am so ready to read this. I think this is her adult romance debut. The back fittingly says she didn't want Prince Charming, she wanted a demon, which I can relate to, weirdly enough. This is set in the same world as Kingdom of the Wicked, which I'm very excited for because it had a very cool way to introduce this world, and I love that series. So I'm very excited to get into this series more with new characters that live in the same world. As far as I know, the Kingdom of the Wicked books and this one too are about the 7 princes of hell, and this one is about Prince Envy. And there are some deadly games involved, and our main character is a painter. That's all I know. I don't even want to know more. I just want to be in this world again and have these feelings again. So I'm very, very here for this book. It is chunky though, but I have high hopes, okay? I have high hopes that this is gonna turn out amazing. Spin again. Number 40. All right. This one is not a special edition, would you believe it? We have One for My Enemy by Olive V. Blake. The only book I ever read by her is The Atlas 6, and I read that one as an ARC years ago when it first came out. One for My Enemy, I think, is kind of like a vampire novel that she wrote. Okay, witches. Witches, not vampires, but I was close enough. Okay, so we have 2 witching clans that are like, they hate each other. And we have 2 sisters who are in the one clan, and things are going down. It's set in New York. Like, this sounds amazing. Every time I pick a random book off this shelf, I realize that these are all incredible books and they sound amazing, and that is probably the reason why I got them in the first place. However, I usually forget what kind of treasures I have up here. I really have high hopes for this one, even though I didn't quite understand what it's actually about. But I do like witches and magic and like semi-realism in my fantasy books, so I'm here for it. It's like kind of an urban fantasy where you still have the real world and you have just the people living in it. I'm happy, okay? This sounds amazing. The cover is absolutely stunning and breathtaking. I don't know what more you could want. I think this is gorgeous, and I want to just like dive into this right now. But I still have a few days until April. Anyway, this one sounds amazing. And the 7th book of today will be number, I don't know, okay? I don't know. The spinning takes a while. 120. This one is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. As far as I know, this is kind of like a historical romance, but I don't know anything else. In this book, we are following our male main character who is on a trip with his best friend Percy, and the two of them travel all through Europe because, like, they're British royals. Not really royals, but, like, somewhere in these gentleman ranks. Think Bridgerton. That's kind of the England we're currently in. He is supposed to take over his family's estate, like, be the man of the family. However, he realizes that on his trip, he kind of has a crush on his best friend, and now he isn't sure if that's, like, his way to romance, and if he should act on this. It's gonna be cute, it's gonna be queer, and I'm happy, and living, and thriving, so this sounds amazing. And spin again for the next book. We're gonna go with 10, by the way, if I haven't told you that before. 171! A Fragile Enchantment. This, I'm excited for. This is by Alison Saft. I have 3 of her books, not read a single one, but they all sounded amazing. I also went through hell and back to get the US edition of this cover because it's just so gorgeous. This is the UK edition, and this, I just love this. And we are back in Regency England, baby. I have a feeling that at this point I'm like addicted to Regency England because it's just so fun. This one is about our main character Neve, and she has the magic to sew emotions into fabrics. So she's a famous dressmaker because of that magical power that she has. And then she is invited to sew the dress for the neighboring kingdom's wedding, the royal wedding. However, she then starts discovering some secrets from the royal wedding, and I have a feeling that this gentleman is probably the prince. I think she's gonna crash the wedding, but that's just my hypothesis. I don't know if that's true yet. I have to prove it. Never leave a hypothesis standing. Prove it, either right or wrong. So that's what I'm gonna do when I'm reading this book, because it sounds amazing and I love it and it sounds fun and cool. And I'm very excited for this one as well. I'm excited for all of these. So far, they were solid and great picks. The only ones I wouldn't have been happy about are my non-fiction books right now, because I'm not in the mood for them. But who knows, maybe I'm super in the mood for them in April. So much can happen between now and the next 4 days. The next one is 231, also cool. Like, these numbers, they don't do anything in my head, okay? All I know is that I need to get them now. Ta-da! This next one is Mysteries of Thorn Manor. This is the very short novella that came out a few years ago, I think. And it is the novella for Sorcery of Thorns, which is a fantasy book with a lot of books involved. It's like a magical kind of dark academia, romancy, fantasy book. I enjoyed the book to a certain extent, and this is a very, very short novella. I don't think there's much in here, but I'm also kind of glad to have a short book to balance out the other bigger books, because as I said before, this month I'm actually trying to read them, so having a shorter book in between sounds like an amazing idea. So this is set immediately after the first book ends, so it's like an extended epilogue, I would say. So I'm really excited to get into this, kind of dive into that world again. It's been literal years since I've read the first book though, so I barely remember anything, but I remember some parts of it, so that's actually like props to my brain for that, okay? It's been like 4 years. Anyway, that's this one. And for the last book we are choosing today, why am I so nervous and excited about this? This is weird. Number 80. That was a very squeaky voice. All right, let's grab the book. If this isn't a sign, I don't know what else is, okay? It made me pick A Day of Fallen Night. Now, I am already a little bit into this book, so I already started it like in January, but then because I started my master thesis, I was just stressed and I didn't know if I could actually rate the book right now, because it is a chunky fantasy book and a high fantasy book with different plot lines all evolving around one thing. It's a lot. I loved the first book, which is The Priory of the Orange Tree, and this is technically the prequel. So you can read either of these books first, and it doesn't really matter which one you read first. So I'm really excited to get into this again, to get into this world, to see the dragons. I remember what happened so far, and I am very glad. However, you already know that I won't be reading this book because I have chronic pain, and it's too heavy for me to actually live and casually read. So I will be reading the ebook. Also, big books as ebooks don't count as big books because the Kindle is this thick, so the book is also only this thick. That's the logic behind it, alright? However, I am really excited to read this. Okay, this might be the favorite of all of them to pick, just because The Prayer of the Orange Tree is one of my all-time favorite books. Because it's so amazing. Literally, if you've not picked up The Prayer of the Orange Tree or this one, please do. They are chunky, they are big, but they're amazing. And I'm actually very glad that the random number generator was like, you need to read this now. Girl, you've been putting it off for months, because at this point I have, because I'm just terrified. Terrified of A, not liking the book, terrified of B, the book itself, because it will destroy me. I already know it. But anyway, that was the last book of today. And I feel good about it. Honestly, I feel very good about the choices I made. Well, I didn't really make the choices, did I? But you get the point, okay? You get the point that these are the books. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will definitely keep you updated on the status of these books. You will probably see them in reading vlogs, and honestly, I might just make a video where I actually try and finish this TBR because it seems like a good mix of things, so I'm very excited to dive into all of these books. If you know any of these books, please tell me, and also let me know about a book that you're excited to read in April, and I will see you very, very soon. Goodbye everybody, and have an awesome day. This was fun. Please let me know if you want me to do this again. It's weird, but it's also fun. I had a good time. And now I'm gonna go back to reading because the March TBR is still going. This is the March TBR, by the way. Just this whole thing. Everything. Why do I have no self-control? I don't know. Bye!